Hi everyone, I'm Gary Null. Welcome back to the Gary Null Show. Today we are continuing with another part of our very important program on mind power. This is a program that we produced in order to help you prevent the brain from aging, help you to better utilize your mind, that there's no age that you can't improve it. Let's continue right now, get right into the story.
Many people, many scientists, in fact, who have trained, they are very great in their craft, but they're very narrow. And yet what we presently know, which is quite wonderful, is trivial compared to what is unknown in the universe. And it is in this unknown part, by reaching the second branch of consciousness and surrendering or realigning our consciousness to the larger self and the service of the larger self, then we begin to develop our intuition.
Intuition is a clear knowing. You know, though you don't know how you know. Or one of my favorite definitions is that it's the deepest wisdom of the soul. Now, since the intuitive mind speaks in pictures, symbols, and images, I could give you a very graphic definition as well. It could be a lightning flash. Intuition comes in a flash. It's a puzzle piece. It's like that aha, light bulb going off, that bright idea.
Most of science today is unwilling to look at the whole huge information field of psychoenergetic phenomena. It can't be explained by the conventional framework because the conventional framework is too small, and so they reject it. And in this, they're practicing scientism rather than science.
If we change our thinking, we change our feelings. If we change our feelings, we change our behavior. If we change our behavior, then the result changes. Because a lot of our behavior depends on our belief system, how we see, how we view the world, and how we view ourselves in that world, which is called self-image.
All humans have within themselves the apparatus to become much, much more than they presently are. And so if one works with this, with intention, and recognizing you have the ability to do this, then you find you evolve from a normal human, a U1 gauge type, mainly human, to an adept who manifests all kinds of qualities, intellectual, spiritual, emotional, psychic, etc. In my view of humans and the world, every one of us will eventually evolve along that path and gain those capacities within ourselves. And as we do, we now have fulfilled the intention for us being here, and that is to become co-creators with our spiritual parents.
So we've learned that oxidative stress from drinking, smoking, exercising, being around pollutions in the environment. Think of all the people where I grew up. I grew up in the dirtiest place in America, the Ohio Valley. It was one of the most beautiful places. My goodness, Blennerhassett Island, where Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr had their famous duel. I used to be able to look at that from a farm that we would stay on, and right down the banks and across the river, and there was Blennerhassett Island. Then it was pure. Then all the factories came, all the big industries, and then the pollution came. Before I moved to New York City for about 6 months, I lived in Wheeling, West Virginia, and Steubenville, Ohio, and Weirton, West Virginia. They're all kind of clumped together, 10, 15 miles apart on the Ohio River. I would walk out of my house in the morning, there'd be a car, and the car would look red, but my car wasn't red. That was from all of the industrial effluents and soot and pollutants that would come out of those stacks from the steel mills and land on the car. But the ground looked that way. Everything looked like someone took a shaker of paprika and just everywhere. Everything was a little stupid little red dot. Everyone you spoke to, how you doing? Okay. Really? You know, they'd be coughing and wheezing. Black lung, brown lung, well, I don't know what it is that's in there. Going to see a doctor? No, I can handle it. Where I came from, everybody, they can handle it. What happened to Joe? He's dead. Well, he didn't handle that very well, God. But that's where I grew up. No environmental protection. No one ever getting exams. You know, you're just working, then you're sick, and then you're dead. You know, and that's the way it was. Massive pollution in the Canal Valley for about 100 miles down that Ohio River. One steel mill or chemical mill, and you could smell every kind of odor. Well, I'll tell you, if you're smelling something, you're breathing it. You breathe it in, it goes to every cell in the body, including passing the blood-brain barrier that it normally would trap certain pollutants.
One of the real problems in modern day living is that we're really toxic. We are drinking, smoking, inhaling all kinds of chemicals in the air. There are thousands and thousands of chemicals that were never meant to be metabolized by our poor bodies. And what they're going to do is go to your brain cells, create free radicals, create a lot of damage, including DNA damage. And you're going to have the problems of brain decay, brain degeneration, which I don't think any of us want.
So we have to say, all right, well, what are we as a culture and a society doing to poison our people? Because the levels of environmental toxins are more than they've ever been and are found in tissue of polar bears, for example, PCBs in polar bears. And what that means is there is no escaping the toxicity of our environment.
We have lived for decades really not appreciating how important the health of the environment is to our health. When you're in a polluted place, and guess what the most polluted place you'll ever be in is? Your home. That's right, if you went through your home and you looked at the paint thinners and you looked at all the chemical and cleaning solvents and you looked at the bleach that you're down there, well, I'm going to clean this floor, I want a clean floor, I'm using bleach. You're breathing that bleach is causing massive damage to your brain, massive damage to your lungs. Oh, well, I get over it. I get used to it. Yeah, you can. And if you drink whiskey, you get used to it. You know, whiskey doesn't taste good, does it? No, but you get used to it. Well, we get used to the pollutants and stimulants in our environment, but they are also all causing damage to varying degrees, but it's cumulative. That's the problem. If you smoked one cigarette and got lung cancer, people wouldn't smoke. If you ate one hamburger and you got gastrointestinal cancer, you wouldn't eat hamburgers. But you're not going to get cancer from a hamburger or a hot dog. You're not going to get cirrhosis of the liver from alcohol, one glass. It's cumulative.
I believe that the worst food a person could take for their brain is the same food that's probably the worst food a person could take for their overall health. Because it's hard to separate brain health from the rest of the body, and we're learning that the same thing that damages the heart has an effect to damage the brain. So I think donuts win my prize for the worst thing a person can do. They're fried in trans fat. They form, in the high cooking of high heat, form acrylamides, which also have an effect they actually can create cancer, but they actually are a toxic material that can increase the deposits of aging material in the brain as well. So I think, the fried, sugary, junk food, people got to realize that their body gets built out of what they eat in life. They become the foods they ate. You put crap in your body, you get a body that's not going to function normally in later life. This is a lifetime process of building your body with nutrient-rich food.
At a certain point, the body cannot rush in there and repair the damage as fast as you're creating the damage. So if you drank, that's oxidative stress. Drank and smoke, that's really a lot of oxidative stress. Smoke, drink, and then have a bad diet, a lot of fatty food, that's oxidative stress. Work in a polluted environment, that's oxidative stress. Live under stress, that's oxidative stress. Well, just keep laying it on the scale, and then one day, boom, the system breaks. And the cell can no longer repair itself, and you've prematurely aged it. So when we understand that the environment we live in, what we put into our body by eating, breathing, or drinking directly impacts positive or negative. There's no neutral. There's only one or two switches in life. You switch on and it's growth and expansion, or you switch off and it's defense and it's toxic.
I think some of the important lifestyle changes that one should think about to help brain function, first of all, includes reducing neurotoxins. And this could include artificial sweeteners, cigarette smoking, alcohol, and refined flour and sugar. That's number one. From there, I would tell individuals to eat a nutrient-dense diet. And then we also must exercise, not only our body also, but our brain as well. So we know that exercise will help improve oxygenation to all cells of the body, including the brain.
And when you're overweight, oh, brother, being overweight, big cause of brain aging. Because when you're overweight, the body is loaded up with excess estrogen, bad for the brain. It's loaded up with a lot of stressors, bad. It's a lot of free radicals, really bad. Toxins are loaded, and heavy metals and pesticides are loaded in that fat, really bad. You're more susceptible to diabetes, and if you're depressed and diabetic and overweight, you could probably die in the next 10 years. And you're more susceptible to heart disease and stroke. So we're creating human biological time bombs. People whose biology is so toxic, it's a miracle they survive it.
As a neurologist in private practice, I see many parents bring in their children whereby their school has ordered them to take the medication Ritalin or similar medications, which are actually uppers. And it is true, they do control some of the behavioral aspects of what the ADD and ADHD have wrought. However, this is a fundamentally flawed approach to the problem. What we need is better diagnosis of why the ADHD problems that the child may have occurred.
Imagine a child going to school in the morning who's just had a cola and some sugary snack. The caffeine from the cola, the sugar, is going to cause an excited reaction in the brain. Now the kid can't sit there and pay attention because the brain is hyper agitated, so they're turning and distracted, and they just don't feel good. They almost feel like they have ants in their pants. The teacher, wanting some order in the class, then thinks that the child may have ADD or ADHD, then gets them on Ritalin. No, that child is going to school, as millions are, with the wrong nutrition in their body, and excitotoxic reactions can affect the brain.
The medications that are used to treat ADHD, many of them, some of them are actually amphetamines, which goes by the street name of speed. So in some ways we're putting kids on drugs in order to make them more like other kids and make them more able to fit into a school system which caters to only one type of brain. And then also is these drugs leave open a potential for addiction in later life. And so we're setting up a cascade of problems in addition to all of the effects of telling a suggestible young child that they have something fundamentally wrong with them.
All right, we've learned what's bad, and even though we may think, oh, wow, I can't give those things up, yes, you can, especially since we're going to make it easy. We're going to make a transition, because for everything you're doing that's wrong, I can show you something that will still be able to fill that void that's right. We have to cleanse and detoxify. We have to get this pollution out of our system. And it takes anywhere from, a couple of months to a year and a half to 2 years, depending upon how overweight you are, your age, how many heavy metals from all the things you might have been exposed to in your work environment or smoking. And then we'll get to rejuvenation. That'll come in a few moments. So where did we begin? Well, the easiest thing to do is to have one glass, 12 to 16 ounces a day of an organic vegetable juice. Now, you can select the vegetables that you have the best affinity for, but the one that's going to help you if you're overweight, and it really releases all that extra built-up fluid, that edema, is celery and cucumber. Celery and cucumber, equal amounts. Aloe vera, which is enormously powerful healing. There are over 200 different phytonutrients. Phyto are the healing nutrients in plants. And by the way, those phytonutrients also help repair your damaged DNA. But we're going to take celery, cucumber, and apple, all right, and dilute it with maybe 3 to 4 ounces of aloe vera juice, And for some of you, it may still be a little strong. For others, it's just fine. And you can use some spring water if you need otherwise. And then every week, we're going to add 1 juice per day. So week 1, it's 1 juice every day. Then week 2, it's 2 juices. Week 3, 3. And I want you to get up to where you're doing 4 juices a day. At the point where you're drinking 4 glasses of vegetable juice a day, your body is chelating. Chelate comes from the Greek meaning chele. Here's lead, cadmium, mercury. Chelation, it grabs it, takes it out of the body.
Optimization of brain function involves intelligent juicing, whereby vegetables and fruits should be juiced to obtain the phytochemicals. Phytochemicals in plants can be very effective for whole body function, whereby it optimizes the biochemistry of the entire body, detoxifies the body, and thus indirectly detoxifies the brain.
It helps your liver, your kidneys, helps relieve all that constipation. So that's the very first thing we do in cleansing. We also want to add fiber, soluble fibers, insoluble fibers. Now the best fibers are from oat, from beans, from blueberries and strawberries and raspberries and cherries, and apple skins, or Jerusalem artichoke, fennel, anise. These are great fibers. They cleanse, detoxify. For those of you who've had constipation, diverticular conditions, spastic colon, great to have this in you. We want about 50 grams a day of quality fibers in our diet. Great for detoxifying. And it's good to have some fiber before you go to bed at night, and that cleanses overnight. So we're going to juice, and we're going to get fiber in the diet, and then we're going to take in some special nutrients. Now I'm going to go through a list of these nutrients, and here are the nutrients, so write them down. Dandelion, that's good. Burdock root, buckthorn, all the berry juices. In fact, one of the things I suggest, at about week 3, one of the juices you're to have every day is a berry juice. Now you could do this in a blender. You take blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, cherries and blackberries and cranberries. Throw them into a blender and drink it down with some vitamin C. Whoa, what a cleansing agent that is. It is so good for you, and it's low in calories. Now why? Because berries have antioxidants, that's good, but berries also have phytonutrients, that's better. And your red fruit, watermelon, blood oranges, pink grapefruit, papaya, mango, and then all the berries, and even pomegranate. Think of the watermelon, one of the best sources of all, and tomatoes. Tomatoes are a fruit, not a vegetable. The phytonutrients in these have a way to repair our damaged DNA. So the more of that you take in, the more damage you repair, the younger you get.
We have to use a rainbow of natural dietary antioxidants by getting a rainbow-colored fruits and vegetables. That means red stuff, yellow stuff, orange stuff, green stuff, indigo stuff, blue stuff. The reality is that you have to have, from blueberries to red raspberries, in a given week, everyone has to eat the rainbow of vegetables and the rainbow of fruits and vegetables because they have so many different antioxidants.
The advent of, jet planes and refrigeration methods that can fly in fresh produce from all over the country, even other parts of the world today. In our supermarkets in America today, we have the availability of salads and all types of vegetables and blueberries and watermelons and things we didn't have available all year in the past. I say it's a blessing that we can actually devise and design a diet style that's richer in nutrients that was even possible in past generations in recent and prior years.
Now the diet. The diet it's a wonderful diet. It's enormously varied, so much variety. I want you to have a humongous salad every day. Put everything in there. Put endive and put arugula and radicchio and watercress and sprouts of all types. There are over 30 different types of sprouts, from fenugreek to sunflower seed and buckwheat and barley sprouts and radish sprouts. Throw those in there. Steam lightly, then blanch with cold water, asparagus, cauliflower, broccoli, and put that in there. because that has phytonutrients that help fight cancer. I want you having a good quality grain, quinoa or brown rice or buckwheat or amaranth or spelt. All the different grains. Go in your health food store and get yourself some grains. It's inexpensive. My diet is inexpensive.
You have to eat whole grains because these are the carbs that are low glycemic. That is, they stick to your ribs, they release the sugar slowly, and you get the value of the glucose over a longer period of time.
I want you to have 2 servings a day of beans, 2 to 3. A cup of beans like black beans, navy beans, pink beans, aduki beans. This is high quality protein. You get complete amino acids. That's right, complete. I was the one who did the research at the Institute of Applied Biology that showed that all the grains and legumes, the beans, have complete protein, just like animal protein, but you don't have to go to all that expense, and they're not toxic. They're helpful because they got B complex and fiber and good oils, which are good for your system. Then we want starchy vegetables. That's right, the good carbohydrates. We want rutabaga and parsnips. We want baked potatoes. They're great for you. But a French fry is not good. Baked potatoes have alpha-lipoic acid, one of the best antioxidant nutrients in the world for you. And I also want you having walnuts, almonds, pine nuts, raw pistachios. I want you having these good quality nuts because the oils in these nuts protect your heart.
Nuts and seeds are foods that contain beneficial fatty acids, lignins, and antioxidants. They're rich in minerals. They're very excellent for brain function. And I believe pretty strongly that we're a species that are designed to be eating natural nuts and seeds. Because even the studies on men in heart disease show dramatic effects of people who eat raw nuts and seeds on a regular basis.
Remember, good oils turn off inflammation. And one of the most important oils in the world to have each day is organic raw coconut oil. Now you can take a teaspoon and put it in your health drink in the morning. That's going to help your heart. It's going to help turn off inflammation in your arteries. It's going to help turn off inflammation in your joints. It's going to help you turn off inflammation in your muscles from fibromyalgia. But you can cook with coconut oil because coconut oil, macadamia oil, and very important, but almost never used by people in our society, is mustard seed oil. Mustard, macadamia, and coconut oil, the 3 oils you should cook with. Olive oil, flaxseed oil, oil of primrose are the oils that you should put on your salads. So now we're going to have a wonderful hot grains in the morning or a protein drink. A great way to start the day is with a protein drink. Throw those berries in the blender. Then put a little bit of vitamin C and put some flaxseed oil in there. That's good for your whole system. And then put in some coconut oil and put in 1 or 2 scoops of high quality rice protein or soy protein. Then put in some rice milk because we're giving up milk, but we're not giving up what looks like milk, tastes like milk, and comes in cheeses, ice cream, and milk, and that is rice milk. Rice milk or soy milk or almond milk. Go into your health food store. It's a wonderful experience to see these things. But they don't have the cholesterol. 0 cholesterol, no saturated fats, no hormones, no antibiotics or pesticide residues, just good, wholesome, healthy beverage. So then you make yourself a big protein shake, and you got your fibers, your protein, your essential fatty acids. You have what will help the body rejuvenate and cleanse and detoxify. Now that is important that you do, and watch the difference. You're going to lose weight. Why? Because when you give up foods you're allergic to, boom, the weight comes off. The weight comes off when you give up foods you're allergic to. I've had people who've tried every diet. They lose weight, gain it back, lose and gain it back. And then I tell them, give up bread, give up wheat for a week. Give up dairy for a week. Give up meat for a week, and what happens? Weight comes off, and it stays off.
The first priority in optimizing brain function in regard to food is to eliminate any foods that are targeting the brain as an allergic target. The most commonly allergic and the most destructive foods are wheat and dairy. Close up next would be sugar, corn, beef, eggs. We know that if food can affect the skin, you have eczema, the lungs, asthma. The brain can be severely affected by brain fog, which goes undiagnosed. As the foods that cause the brain fog are eliminated from the diet, the brain fog clearly diminishes and may even totally remit.
So now you can have Essene bread, that's E-S-S-E-N-E, old Essene bread. It's a living bread, it's healthy. You can have hummus and baba ganoush. We can have sesame seeds. We can have all these things.